Hello, we have gathered for Laura Heartbeat's IEP meeting. Today we have with us her mom and dad. We have her general education teacher, her special education teacher, our LEA representative for our school, as well as the OT, occupational therapist. Thank you so much for being here today. Here is the agenda. I envision a room that has a table that is round, and on the board behind me would be two boxes with the agenda laid out. The first box would be if any questions come up, we could write them on the board. The second would be for any other issues that we need to, or concerns that we need to address in the future. Sometimes there are things that come up that might need another meeting. If anything like that comes up, we can put it up there and know that we can address it in the future. Back to our meeting. Today, Laura is going to introduce each person. My goal would be as each person went around the table and she introduced, this is my mom, for her mom to say her name, and then also one thing that she thinks is one of Laura's greatest strengths. So her creativity, her joy, her interest in the world around her, especially science, walking into situations with more confidence was the parents' last desire for their daughter. So if they had seen any growth in the areas that they wanted in previous times, if that growth has occurred, to affirm their child publicly in front of all those who worked hard for her to get that particular skill. Our meeting date would also be listed, along with understanding that before this meeting, the meeting was scheduled. It was first checked out to be okay with the parents, the SPED, and general education teachers. Then there was a Microsoft Teams invite, as well as an official IEP invite, and then a reminder email a day before. In this communication with this particular family, they like to be notified about between once a week and once a month, and it's usually by phone or by email. So hopefully we cover both of those so that everybody was on the same page. After the introductions by Laura, we would go into our intent and our agenda. So the agenda, like I said, would be listed on the board, but our intent is to have an annual IEP meeting and to review what's been done in the past, what has worked, and what we need to do in the future. Moving forwards with everything that she has done thus far, there's been significant growth in her personal ability to perform at a higher level. She has improved incredibly, and to really focus on that improvement, not so much the scores with this particular IEP. So the 2% and 11% would not be talked about as much. We'd touch on it, but not as much. For the future, we'd ask Laura what she would like to be when she grew up, and then also what she would like to get better at. In her social skills group right now, she has been working on calming strategies and counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as well as some interpersonal skills that she's working on with other students and not getting really frustrating and shutting down with her head down on her desk. So affirming those areas in particular where she's been successful, pointing those out to her, where the OT has seen it, where her general education teacher has seen it, where I have seen it as a SPED teacher, would all be super important. Looking at what she likes to do for fun and what she's good at, as well as who her friends are and what they enjoy doing together. Looking at the adults who care about her at school is super important. And then we dive into her current levels of performance, looking at both formative assessments as well as non-formal assessments to kind of take a look at how her writing skills are doing in particular, as well as her reading and math abilities. She's really grown in the writing skills. Her math can use a little more help insofar as her multiplication and division. Looking at this and moving forward, we could check out with a STAR graph for the STAR reading test, the forward reading assessment, as well as the guiding rated levels. She's been doing such a good job with her reading and comprehension. Sometimes she reads really fast and misses what it's about. So we've really been drilling that in classes and trying to understand what is going on with Laura and how she thinks and what's the best way to reach with her. In her math, we'd look at the STAR assessments again on the chart, but then really focus on where she's progressed and looking at the fact that she's jumped from addition and subtraction up to 100 to now multiplication and division. She currently uses the chart that most kids in the room use for multiplication tables, which has a rainbow, and I'd show it. And then, but she's also capable in really working on those 3s, 4s, 6, 7, 8s, and 9s. Her writing, I would like to show a sample of what it was last year and what it is this year, like with what it was at the beginning of the school year and what it is right now. So the parents can see her progress with her spacing and with her ability to put her thoughts down on paper. I would love to show a paragraph that she wrote, but I would also like to see her grow into the ability to structure and outline so far as to write a story. So her needs at this point, the disability needs that we're looking at, have to do with the emotional behavior. She has a general special education disability that covers math, reading and writing, her social skills, and in general, she's doing such a good job, and she's growing so much. With her peers, we have a really great development that's occurring within her for her own self, but she's still below where the rest of her peers are at. So we want to continue to support her and get her independent as possible to make as many successful decisions that she possibly can. In our goal development, I would walk into what next year could look like. 30 minutes of math every day with at least 5 minutes in multiplication and division, just to keep those skills for algebraic operations going, as well as for word problems. In her reading, that fluency, that comprehension, having all of those benchmarks met and raising that level. She's still 1 year below her, the rest of her peers are at. So to get that level up, we want to go another level and a half like she has over the last year. For her goal development, really see the spaces between the words and hopefully move her into some cursive, which should help with the brain connection. Research has shown how helpful it is for students who struggle with that connection to really move forward. Her B's and D's are coming along, and we are still asking her to take her time when she reads things, not to just blast through it and not understand what she's reading. Moving forward, she doesn't need, currently she has test accommodations to have as much time as she needs in a separate setting. Questions can be read out loud to her. I don't know if I would keep that. I would put that out to the rest of the group and see what the general education teacher thinks, as well as the OT. I would give the OT 5 minutes here to speak. I'm sorry, the general education teacher 7 minutes here to speak, and then the OT teacher 5 minutes to speak, and go around the table and then come to the parents last. So after letting them speak, we would look at our supplementary aids and services. She is currently supported in every area, and she's pulled from her peers for a specific smaller group in a separate setting, quieter formation, education, instruction in reading and math. It's specifically designed instruction for her. I would keep on the days, the snow days when we have inclement weather, the modifications that are made for her time per day. Her reading was a little bit less than her math, that was equal for both, whether we're in school or out of school for inclement weather. Her related services of OT, I would let the OT teacher decide what she would like to do here, and we would discuss it as a group. And moving forward, she does not need any accommodations or specifications made for her at this point. So with her family, we do touch and share 2 times per year exactly what we're looking for with her general education report cards. Her progress is discussed, of course, here at this meeting and at another family teacher conference, periodically throughout the year when it's necessary, and at the family's request, at the parents' request. If Laura has any concerns, I would put the meeting back over to her as well, especially after her parents talk. If there are any questions or comments, I would love to take them, or you can email at kricardi@my.gcu.edu. Thanks for coming today. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, I'd love to take those.